All right. Hello, everybody. Well, today we have a couple of guests, which I'm so glad to see these ladies. But Lisa Flamino Rush and Sheila Corona from Conscious Conversation Central. Gosh, it's been what, a year, almost 2 years ago, I guess, when we did our first video together on your channel. July. It is just short of 2 years. So yeah, you got me started in this conversation on YouTube. So yeah.
Well, I'm really glad to see you guys take off on your own channel. Actually, I think it's awesome. And for those of you that are familiar with me, but not Gina, that might be followers of Conscious Conversation, because we're going to put this on both channels. This is Gina Cummings, and her channel is StarDragonBrood, along with her counterpart, her partner, Tim. And we've had several conversations actually with the two of you. You're right. It started about 2 years ago. And we did most of our dream space conversations with the two of you. We did a couple with Kevin, but for the most part, it was the two of you, because, you know, Tim's got a really active metaphysical, multidimensional life going on there, and he's doing some writing now too, I think, right?
A whole book coming in.
Yeah, whole book. So we want to make sure. I want to make sure, Gina, this is your gig, but I want to make sure you also get me links to everything so I can include it in the show more section. Because I gotta be honest, I've had
definitely
recently. I'm sure haven't been over to see almost the, I don't know, 800 or so videos I got over there now. So there's a lot of conversations been going on.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I'll send them over. We started back last year uploading some just conversations here and there, and him talking about dreams and us talking about different things. And then about February, actually it was around February 22nd, somewhere in that time frame, he all of a sudden, he's a reader. He loves to read. And all of a sudden, he was not attracted to reading anymore. And so he started sitting with just a pen and a notebook, notebook that's this size, pencil. And he just started flowing through. And it's amazing. I mean, he probably spends 10 hours a day and 2-hour segments. And it flows through. Some days he doesn't get anything, but some days he gets like 10 of these pages. And so we're up to about 500 and some pages, this size page now. And we've done the videos. What he'll do is we get on a video and he'll read what's come through and since the last video. And then I transcribe them and they're uploaded, and we have a blog site where you can actually go read them, because to listen to them is one thing, but then to read them, it unpacks things. And there's poems, there's analogies, there's humor, there's, it's a way that it gets past the subconscious blocks or confusion pieces and allows you to kind of get some of those, I didn't think of it that way, those kind of epiphanies that happen. So, but it's so much fun. And he said, he doesn't own it. He's like, I'm not like sitting and he's not a writer. He's never written anything before, but it's like, it's all planned. I mean, the stuff that came through, like he just read me before I came in here, it weaves a lot of the stuff together that was written previously. And it's almost like it's been designed, to flow in this way with these sections and with these things, but it's not him designing it. So it's like reaching into that field, that metaphysically reaching into that field and just pulling it. He feels it like he's pulling it down and just putting it on paper so that we can all see it and work with it. But
well, I love that. I really, and I've said this a lot, and I encourage anyone and everyone that feels, because I can feel that it's almost like being driven, right?
Yeah.
Like, see, I've had that. I get that with things that I feel to record. So I could recognize the frequency of what you were sharing there. And I want to encourage anyone and everyone, if you feel that you are driven to write something, share something, speak something, that's because it's for you and you're the only one that can do that. And what you spoke to there about it I've said that's kind of why I call myself a puzzle piece collector. Everyone has bits and pieces that can help jostle other things into place for each other, and it's not ever going to be the same. This person over here won't trigger me and knock a piece of my puzzle that was askew into place, perhaps, but someone else may be saying it a bit differently, toning it a little bit differently for some reason, their unique way of pulling whatever it was they felt to share through. Oh, and it may be exactly the same kind of thing, just whatever it was, there was something about that that clicked the puzzle over. And that's why following one's nudges and one's desires, there's a reason. There really is a reason for following one's highest joy, because it's also, especially if it's that driving feeling that, you know, that I could feel you trying to share there. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that about.
Yeah, because it's an attracting feeling. It's not a push feeling. So it's like a magnetic thing that, you know, and I get it in different ways. I mean, some express through words, some express through writing, some express through music, some express through art. You know, it's that same kind of, it's a pull, you know, you just feel it pulling you. And you can say no, but why would you? Because it's joyful, and it's, you know, you learn in the process, and you grow. And then if you share it, then other people have a chance to learn in that process. Because I think we're going, you know, we've gone through kind of a time where we've been working on our security, our lower chakras, so to speak. And now we're opening our heart chakra, you know, where the creativity and the love energy and stuff comes. And now it's moving up to the throat, and we're starting to express it, you know. So it's like, we've been shut down both in the heart and the throat, which has kind of kept us from really like expressing our creativity. And so, yeah, I absolutely encourage anybody that if you're feeling that, you know, kind of share it. It's vulnerability, you know, to put yourself out there and say, well, you know, because you'll look at it and you feel it, but you're not sure if anybody else is going to feel it. You got to be okay with if they do or don't, and you've got to be okay. If some of them like it and hate it. You know, you need to be able to hold that, you know, be vulnerable and put it out there, but be able to also be centered enough that, you know, that feedback is not going to knock you off center.
Right. No, that's absolutely, I feel exactly what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. That's one of the reasons why I've never really tried to raise expectations of anything about this channel for myself. I've always said, this is for me, to make me happy, and only me. That way, if anybody else is, you know, I don't have to worry about it, because I'm not really trying to please anybody.
Right.
You know, I'm really not.
Yeah, with ours, we're not trying to convince anybody of anything. We're just sharing. If it speaks to you and you like it, great. If it doesn't and you don't like it, great. Doesn't really matter. It's joyful for us. It's fun to play with, and, you know, we throw it out there in case somebody wants to engage with it. If they want to take it and, you know, expand on it or have dialogue around it, share things back, you know, that maybe they're receiving that we haven't gotten, you know, so it is all a play, you know. Like we don't take ourselves so seriously anymore, and
it's like putting it in the field.
More fun. Yeah,
that's what I feel like. You know? We're just putting it out there in the field. Yeah.
Create it and let it go. Oh, and it feels so good to do that. It really, really does.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't define you. It's like when you're in need of somebody liking what you do, or in need of somebody accepting what you do, it because it defines you or says you're okay or you're good enough or whatever, then it's miserable. But if once you get that inside yourself, knowing you're good enough and you don't need you are complete, then you can just be yourself, and other people will either resonate and they like it, or they say, well, that's not for me. And then either way, you're going to be who you are, and you're not going to change that.
Either way, you're okay.
Exactly. So it makes it a lot of fun. But, so we were having lots of conversation before we started our videos. Always happens, it seems.
I know.
But yeah, so I mean, you know, one of the things that I think this time has given us is a lot of people. There's some people who aren't allowing themselves to go inside and kind of really wrestle with themselves, but I think it's slowed the distraction, the life of distraction down enough so that we can wake up some things inside of ourselves. And people are recognizing those things that aren't necessarily pretty inside themselves, or, you know, they like or they don't like, and they're trying to work through that. I mean, we've kind of had our own time out, you know, if you will, dark nights of the soul to you know, individually.
Yeah, that's real.
So I'm
Yeah,
like, I've seen so much creativity, like this stuff coming out because people have time. There's sitting with it. And I don't know if you guys have felt that too. I mean, I know I've been doing things that I don't normally do, like paint, and, you know, I've been working in the garden, not working, but playing in the garden and playing with flowers and plants. And, but I think that creativity we're talking about, I would say that to encourage people, bring it out. You know, if it's coming to you while you're sitting and trying to find stuff to do, you know, let us see it, you know, because it's there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You were speaking earlier about the slowing it down and giving it of time. I really do feel, you know, Lisa and I did a conversation. It was a two-parter called "Could This Be the Event?" Right, about this time in history and how it has slowed down for all of us. And what you were speaking on there brought it back to the fore for me again, how this really has been a time where it has slowed down and given the opportunity to all to have that well up within them. What I see, sense, and feel recently is that again, a point where you can choose to have look at that as it wells up while there's less distraction, like you were saying. I have seen and sensed and felt that there are those, of course, who are choosing not to. And that's, of course, going to be always. And they, you know, we've talked about that quite a bit here recently because, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on out there with, you know, folks and masks and some being angry because you're not wearing some, and some places requiring them, and, you know, all this fear-based stuff that is still going on that, you know, again, for me, it's that point of, well, while there has been, you know, supposedly less distraction, hopefully some more of that looking at what is rising within, there definitely has been and will be those that are choosing, and they have the right to, and we can't hold any judgment over them. But for the most part, I have I mean, certainly run into those that are fearful, but it's been kind of encouraging some of the other things that we've been running into too. Like the fellow yesterday that actually said to me and Lisa, "Well, I'm not taking the chip." Just so matter of fact, I was like,
okay.
He was a city worker too, this fella. That's what was very interesting to me. He was looking for the sewer out here. I guess they were getting ready to do some kind of work on it, and had a city, you know, uniform on. So very interesting interaction.
Well, it's interesting, you know, how we're all going to be choosing what level of sovereignty and freedom for ourselves, you know, and how high or low on that fear scale you are, you're making trade-offs, you know, with your sovereignty and your freedom. And so we each have to individually make those choices for ourselves, and how we're going to, you know, accept or stand up or whatever it is, in the process. But I think two things are happening. One is, well, many things are happening, but everyone's intent is becoming very, very clear. You can clearly see those that are in it for the highest good of all, and those that are only concerned with themselves. And so, and I don't mean from you know, people can interpret highest good of all like, oh, well, if you go out without masks, you're going to make everybody sick. That's not what I mean. I mean the daily decisions that you make and the attitude that you have toward things You're either expressing them as the highest good of all, or you're expressing them and only concerned about yourself. And it's so, so clear. So I think as we go through this, we're making those choices, and people are going to see, are you fearful because of what choices are you making? Are you making choices because you believe yourself that's the right choice for you to make? And are you living in love or fear? It's all, for me, it's becoming extremely clear as I interact with people now. The first few minutes, I can tell where are they on the fear scale. It's like just by their verbiage that they're using.
Right.
And
Well,
it's very sad. But what it has done is create this space. So for me, when life was happening so fast, the distraction life, I won't say real life, when it was happening so fast, all the distraction, and everybody's in these mechanical or habitual patterns of get up, go to work, come back home, cook dinner,
right.
sleep, get up, that kind of thing. You don't realize which parts of your life you don't like, because it all kind of blurs together. And sometimes you blame things for your stress or whatever that aren't really what's causing your stress. And for me, what I've noticed is as I've slowed down and I've been able to get peaceful in the morning, I haven't had to get up, shower, rush, get in traffic, get there, and all that. I just get up, have my tea or coffee, come in, sit down, and have my meditation piece. And then I'm at peace. As I go through the day, anything that makes me feel a little like, oh, I don't like the way this makes me feel, I look at it and say, I don't like that. That task that I'm doing or the way I'm thinking about this is what's causing me to feel this way. So how can I, if I need to do that task, how can I approach that differently so that it's the way I want it to feel, not the way it's programmed to feel inside me. And so I think that as people are inside working on a lot of these things, that's where I think the creativity is coming in, because they'll reach a point where they have to do something different because they don't have any distraction, to blame it on. Or,
right. There's nothing left to look at.
No, you got to look at yourself and going like, okay, it's not that job or it's not that task that, is making me feel this way. It's how I think about that job or task. And how creative can I be with doing that task differently, to make me happy? Or if it's something I can't do differently, do I want to do that anymore?
Exactly. What you're describing there for me is in every moment, what is being presented to you, you are looking for your highest joy, your heart's desire as it presents. Oh, hold up. I don't like this. What do I not like about it? Oh, do I even really want to do it anymore? That a lot of folks, thank you for that, the way you put that. Because a lot of times when I say, I want to follow my highest joy, I want to do only that which makes my heart sing, I want to move towards my heart's desire in every moment. I know how some tend to hear that, right? They're like, oh, well, everybody wants to do that, but who's going to take out the trash kind of thing, right? But if the way you just described that was so beautiful, thank you for that. Because that is, for me, in your words, what I mean when I'm saying, in every moment I examine what presents, and I want to see, well, if it's not bringing me the highest joy, why? What about it? Like you said, can I do it differently? Do I even want to do it anymore? And that's a biggie.
Upon it. Yeah.
Right. That is a biggie. And I get it, especially if it's something that has to do with your livelihood or a relationship, or it doesn't even really matter what it is about. Sometimes it can be difficult to actually look at and say, ooh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And there's more consideration that has to go on.
Well, and what's so interesting is the power of perspective is becoming so very clear, because as you sit there, you can look at it and you may still need to do that task, or you may still, it needs to be done. It's taking out the trash or whatever it is, cleaning the toilet. I don't know, but that task still needs to be done. But it's what your perspective on that is what's eliciting the discomfort. So the first choice is, does it have to be, is this a choice I'm making to do this and make this a choice, that I have to do this? Is there another way I can look upon it? Because that perspective, I mean, we talk about it all the time. You have people right now sitting at home that are, well, we're now not sitting at home as much anymore, but this was a few weeks ago. Same situations, 5 houses in a row. One house, the people in there can be like I was feeling complete joy, no fear, complete joy, complete expansion. All I was seeing was how we were being like ropes were being cut loose so people could be free. You had the next house over where somebody's totally terrified, won't go out their front door, won't let anybody bring them anything because they don't want to handle anything that somebody has had. I mean, you have the far extremes and then you have the middle pieces.
Yeah.
Nothing is different about the scenario from those 5.
No.
It's all inside here. It's all in here, in our heart and in our head, how we're looking at it. So anything that we look at and we go, oh, that doesn't feel so good. I don't like that. And you just feel it. You can feel your heart race, or you can feel this heaviness, or, whatever. You go, okay, first of all, do I have to do it? Is this just something I've been told I have to do? What is this? And then, okay, if I really need to do that, then how can I look upon that differently? How can I see it differently so that it doesn't give that energy? Because it's all about energy. It's not about the task or about what you're doing. It's all about the energy you feel around it. So.
Well, that sounds like the doggies in the neighborhood have decided to join the party.
Excellent.
Everybody's outside, I think. The neighborhood's very active.
Well, being a Saturday, yeah. And plus it's
my family who are gardening over there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Oh, Jasmine and Albert are gardening?
Yeah. They're
how awesome.
They're over there.
So Lisa was telling us before the recording that you're trying to manifest your fruits instead of grow them, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So what you were talking about fits so well with what we've been talking about with, manifesting or materializing, however you want to call it.
Yes.
But,
So. And it is all the state with which you do it, really. I think that's the key. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And it's up to each one to decide what they care to do. But whatever it is that you're doing, to do it with love and dedication. And I'm thinking of my husband. He works at the Catawba College, and he works in the gym in housekeeping. And, he's in charge of cleaning the gym, right? Mm-hmm. But the way he holds himself, he doesn't look at himself as a janitor. That's not who he is. That's not how he defines himself. He knows who he is. He's a kick-ass creator being who is assisting at the college in this moment of now. And I use the word assist because he's been recognized in many different ways now. Mm-hmm. Publicly, even by the college itself. He's standing out above everyone in the energetics. It's not that he is the biggest brain on campus. It's not because he's the biggest athlete on the team. It's because he knows who he is and he leads from there. And everything he does is done in that full accountability, liability, responsibility for self and the highest good of all. And it shows. It shows in the work. It shows in the relationships he's created and fostered. And it's been really fun to watch because suddenly now this is the man I married. I know him very well. And he's not changed who he is, right, other than to say he's honed it, he's gotten it better and better. But now in these energetics, he's suddenly we're getting reciprocation, meaning people are seeing his energy and meeting it with like. And so he's being recognized. He's being held above. He's being called out. He's being rewarded. He's gotten awards. He's gotten special cash gifts and cards left in his closet. He's got more clothing from any, you know, all these sporting stuff and the latest tennis shoes, because people want to reciprocate.
Yes.
And it's really about his energy. And it's not because only Albert knows how to shine the floor in the gym. That's not what this is about. Right. It is about the spirit with which he shines the floor in the gym. Not only does the gym shine, but the college shines. And he's shining his light so brightly that the students feel their own light. They can see themselves reflected in his eyes, and they feel loved and honored. As a matter of fact, these boys on the basketball team went to championship this year. And I know one guy who couldn't have been more excited, you know, if he wasn't going himself, right, for this team. And he's not missed a game, which he doesn't have to do. He's choosing to work those games, and he's choosing to be there because he's supporting the people he loves, not because he has to clean up the floor after the game. So this is what I'm talking about, the spirit with which you do things. And now, because the team made it to the championship, he was at work the other day, and he comes home with this story. He's walking past, and the coach calls out, "Mr. Al, I need you in the circle for a second." And he put him in the circle on the basketball floor, and the team was surrounding him, and he said, "I've been talking to the team, and I've been sharing with the team, and now the team has something they want to share with you." And they shared with him the good news that they were in the championship, so they were all getting a ring. And they were very excited about this good news, and they decided that they wanted to make him an honorary member of the team, and he would be receiving his own championship ring. Because they could not have done it without his support and encouragement and love and consistency and all. Valuing the true value that he brings, because it's the energy he carries. It's his state of mind. It is how he chooses to see the world. And it emanates from him, and it affects everyone. Yes. And so
it's
that
affecting
is
me right now. I already know this story, and I am bawling over here. It's so I am so, the energy of what Albert carries is what I'm reacting to, because the fact that they are recognizing him in that way it speaks volumes to what I've always known about Albert, right? And Lisa has always known about Albert. But now to see that, you know, folks that you wouldn't think.
Everybody knows it, because it didn't used to be that way. I'm going to be honest. He was the last guy to get the award, right? And he did all the work while they were at the award ceremony, handing out awards.
And the thing is, it's not for him. It's not about the award. You know, it's like,
no,
he would do
it never was.
That's the piece. He's not doing it competitively. No. He's not doing it to earn the recognition. Having the recognition is not going to change who he is. You know, all of those things. And it's because he's centered in himself, and he's just letting that light shine.
Right.
And Tim calls it, you know, we're the luckiest, we'll feel like we're the luckiest people in the world, you know, and that's kind of what's happening, you know, as the energy shifting, he's being showered.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's an amazing thing that's happening now. The support here for all of humanity so it's also encouraging too for those of us looking on the outside who think, oh, but that's so hard to do. No, it really isn't. Once you catch the hang of it, it's the easiest thing in the world to do. And now you are, you know, it used to be, but then, you know, you're the one who gets walked on in the end. And that is kind of the way. The energetics were not in my favor. I did not have the wind at my back. And it was not an easy trudge up the hill in 9 feet of snow or however, it was hard, okay?
But it made us
But
strong.
not anymore. Right now it's all downhill, it is good times and wonderful if you turn and roll with it.
Yeah.
And so that's where we are all right now. And that's what's so beautiful to watch. Because see, really what's happening too is people around him are waking up to their own value.
Mm-hmm.
And when they begin to do that, they can suddenly look around and see the value around them. And that's what's happening. And that's what we're crying about over here.
Yes.
Not because finally we got the award, but because finally we're being seen.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very exciting. Consciousness loves and treasures being seen and adored. I know I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we really see and adore ourselves for who and what we are, and you have those eyes on board and you look around and you adore what you see,
mm-hmm.
Oh, what a savory party that is.
Yeah.
You actually hit something very, very positive there for me, and kind of reinforcing even more the whole idea of why. Because moving towards that which makes the heart sing in every moment carries with it its own frequency. And that is too what Albert does when and he always has, regardless of where he's at. He's always been that. What presents in his field, he looks at, and it is the perspective with which he holds it, and he moves accordingly. And that in and of itself is it's a pleasurable frequency.
Absolutely.
I don't care who you are. It's not I gotta go make the dough.
Exactly.
Right.
I have to go do this now. I don't want to do this, and I hate my job. And that's when you feel into that. Of course, that's not something anybody wants to hang out around.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And you'll find it working against you,
right?
Because everybody then starts to avoid you, and it's like a self-fulfilling, prophecy, so to speak.
Right, exactly.
Rattling on. But I also think, interesting, and you can comment on this, Lisa, because I don't know Albert that well, just through you all, but
yeah,
and I've had the joy of meeting him once before. So, but if you think about it, it doesn't mean that he's a big pushover and he's just going to do everything everything he wants. So just because you're doing it, you're doing things that make your heart sing. The things that make your heart sing are the thing that resonates with you and feels right. Maybe delivering some tough news, or it may be saying no to somebody. So I open it up because I would imagine he's not a pushover with people either.
No, you'll make that mistake just once.
Yeah. Only once. Let me just say,
I'm speaking from personal experience over here.
when I first met them, okay, I just, Albert is my teddy bear. That's what and so I used to call him, and I still do sometimes, Mayor McTeddybear, because he's kind of got the mayoral. He's actually, I kind of named him.
He cares for everyone. He minds the group.
He's the mayor of wherever we are. He's making sure everybody's got everything they need. But you're exactly correct. Don't mistake his kindness for weakness,
right,
in any kind of shape, value, way, fashion, because it's not, and at all. I call him our sergeant at arms as well, because I feel no.
Yeah, because when you're in, what Tim and I've experienced too, is when you're around people and you have that centering, and you're with individuals, they may not like what you have to say, but they know that you care about them and you're delivering it because that's what they need for their highest good. So it's like, it's holding that, and they appreciate it. It might sting a little bit in the moment if you tell them no, or you say, well, no, not really. That's not really you're a little bit off on that. It might sting in the moment, but
right.
they go, but they feel that it's not malicious. They feel
Right.
Well, I'm glad, you know, the way you brought that up, that's very, very important. That's actually my first alchemical epiphany, where I went from an intellectual exercise to alchemical epiphany. Exactly what you're saying there. It rings true if the being who is delivering that has no attachment or judgment held within their frequency. And I can say that specifically because I used to say that I didn't hold judgment or attachment, and I thought I didn't, but apparently I did. And it that does translate in one's frequency. It's subtle, and the other being may not quite exactly grok what it is that they're feeling, but it's a feeling. It is in the frequency, and it's a feeling. And I had this happen between myself and Jasmine. You know? And this was, I was so grateful for Jasmine being in this co-creative community, because, you know, as a parent of a teenager, I raised my kid in a wholly different atmosphere, right? An asleep atmosphere. And I thought I was cool with certain things that were happening within the household, right? Jasmine could feel that, no, she's got an attachment in there. She still thinks she's right, and she could feel it. I didn't realize that I actually was still carrying that around. I think I do now. On some level, I knew, but the moment I saw the difference between holding it as something and actually letting that judgment and that attachment go, and the difference between those and what they felt like, I could really feel it within my entire, all of my different bodies, how carrying that around in one's field, even unconsciously, the other being, even though they may not be aware of exactly what they're feeling, can feel it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we all have those. I mean, you don't know that you have them until you bump into it, you know, and so it's like nowadays, if I feel that from myself, it's rather than judging myself and saying, oh my gosh, I can't, you know, like whacking myself over the head with something. It's more like, oh, yeah, I still hold that. Yeah, I do have a little bit of judgment. I need to think about that, or I need to sit with that, or I need to like tell me more about it so I can unravel that in myself. And it isn't always that smooth. Sometimes if it's something that has some passion behind it, or it sparks a little bit of fear or something like that, I might hold on to it a little bit harder and be like, no, that can't be right.
I have to tussle with it for a minute.
I have to just kind of go, okay, all right, we need to stop talking
like
about
a dog with the bone.
Yeah, so that happened.
When are we gonna put this down now?
Not as often as it used to, but that's still happens.
Yeah.
Every time that we interact with different beings, we're going to have the opportunity for that, and that's all part of the growing piece. So I don't think any of us are perfect in that regard yet, because we're still growing, right?
Right, exactly.
But yeah.
Well, being open to feeling and being open to seeing, because believe me, it wasn't easy to actually even notice that when I, you know, intellectually thought, oh, I'm not carrying any judgment in my field. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, because I did, you know, hey, come on, I admit it. I had a little bit of that going on. No, I'm not. I don't know. When all the while it's hiding around the corner, around the back, just looks a little different, tucked away in the corner.
Here's a small example of this is what's really been readily apparent are people's perspectives on makeup and hair and stuff like that. You know, so we say, oh, we don't care what you look like. But you see, you know, as the weeks have gone on, I've been in various groups and people showing up in Zoom calls, and you can see as it goes on and their hair is growing out, or they decide not to, because I don't wear makeup most days, don't wear makeup, or, you know, where they're sitting or stuff like that. It's like you can see who still has judgment, because they're going like, you should have put, you should have put clothes, you know, you shouldn't do a different top on, or you should have put some makeup on before you got on the call, you know, and it's like, you still have judgment. But I mean, that's a small thing. So anytime we're like, you should do something, or somebody else should do something else, that's a little like place that you could go, yeah, I'm holding on to something there, you know, because we have freedom, right, to do whatever, as long as we're not harming somebody else.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the key to any of that for me was I had to be open to looking at me.
Yeah.
And like I said, that is not an easy task. No doubt. I get it. It is not for the faint of heart. That's
Right.
faux show. That is faux show. Because I'm telling you, there's, you know,
Yeah. And
yeah.
nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody can do it for you.
No.
You have to do it for yourself. You have to
Mhm.
find your way out of that. People can support and send love, and you can look at other people's experiences, but nobody's going to be able to say, you know, here's how you need to release that, or here's, you know, there's the step 5 things that you can do that are going to get you from here to, it doesn't work that way.
No.
We're all very different.
No, that's why I really, honestly, that's why I like having conversations instead of teachings or anything like that, because honestly,
Right.
it's all going to be different no matter who's doing what. Everybody's going to, you might want to take a little bit of this over here and a little bit of that over there, and because that's the way it all works. We're all very unique, and I don't want to rule anything out either, so I like to hear things and try things and, you know, all like that, because you just never know. Whatever I feel drawn to, which is another reason I talk about, you know, moving towards whatever one desires, because there's a reason that you're drawn to something.
Yeah.
You know, overall, there's a reason why, you know, something keeps coming up in one's field and you feel like you're being magnetically drawn to something. There's a reason for it. And so,
We're all,
I mean, I have been magnetically drawn to something, like say a 2-hour video, and I'm sitting through the whole 2-hour video going, okay, well, what in the hell? Why was I drawn to this? And there'll be one sentence, maybe 3/4 of the way through. Oh, okay. Yeah. And that could send me off on something else, somewhere else, but it was that lit up. And I of course, once I get that, I got to sit through the end. So now a whole 2-hour video for maybe one sentence or, you know, one concept or one idea. But that's okay. I'm not, you know, that is what that kind of thing is for, I feel like, you know, being open to and just hearing whatever you feel drawn to.
Yeah, none of us have each other's answers, and we're all really on the same level, you know, so it's like we're all walking through this. If you get into this, you know, I've got your answers, you need to learn from me, those kind of scenarios, it's not the same level, and it doesn't feel right. It's like even more so now than used to be. But once you figure out that you've got your answers inside of you, everybody else has their answers inside of them, and you're all just walking this journey together, it really kind of relaxes you into things. The judgment aspect.
I love that. I'm glad you brought that up in that fashion, because to be honest with you, Albert and I have very different ideas about things. And especially when we first met, you know, he was a deacon in a Southern Baptist church, and his church family is very, 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 very important to him. And everything he did in his life was about the congregation and the church folk, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, how will we ever make this work, right? Like, this can't even. But because I was able to not judge his path to his source and whatever color and vibrancy he feels called to experience it, that's not for me. And was he living in his daily life in a way that I felt compatible with? Absolutely. Do I feel compatible at all with the church and some of the places he felt comfortable going. No, I really didn't. So I don't go. And that was okay too. And it doesn't mean I love him any less because he took Jasmine off to church for Easter Sunday service. I don't really care. And if she falls in love with church and decides to become a member and raise her children there, that's okay with me. I wouldn't do it. I've been there, done that, discovered it's not for me. And I'm very grateful I was free to leave and free to be who I am. Free to be who I am now. Free to be me in this moment. Maybe tomorrow I'll look totally different and I'll feel totally different and I'll be saying totally different things. But I'm free to do that. I'm free to change my mind at the drop of a hat. So that must mean that you are too.
Yes.
And what I have found is that a lot of the people I thought I didn't have anything in common with, when it got right down to it, the only thing we didn't have in common is we couldn't agree on doctrines or words or the most mundane, silly things that really never came up in our daily interactions, if you will. It only came up when we decided we had to agree upon this here subject and went like this.
Here in the head. Yeah.
And fought over it instead of just going, oh, is that how you see it? Well, that's so interesting. Do tell. Oh, okay. Wow. Well, and this is how I see it. And then we move along. And it really could be that simple because I'm living example of how exactly that works.
Well, see what you're bringing up for me. I'm sorry, Gina, I didn't mean to speak over you, honey. Go ahead.
Yeah, without the need to convince or to be right. Or to convince them of something or to have it exactly the same. It's okay that it's different. Yeah.
Well, that is exactly right. And that's what I was speaking on before for me is discovering within me that it is only the attachment to my being right about a thing that held that judgment in place. Okay. I now know, for one thing, even because listen, I already have the portion on board for me that I could be right for me. It might be right for me and wrong for you. I already have that intellectual exercise going on.
Yeah.
I already had that.
Nice.
What I didn't have, and I knew that that it could be right for me and wrong for you, or wrong for me and right for you. I already had that too as an intellectual exercise. What I hadn't had was the marriage, the alchemical epiphany without to let go of the attachment as to whether or not it was right for them or not. Because I really didn't have that piece yet fully, solidly in all the portions of me. And that is why the frequency of my judgment and my attachment could still be felt.
Yeah.
Because on that most important level, where it was hiding around the back in the corner, different color, because I thought I'd whipped it into shape. You know, hadn't actually been integrated into a place where I'm like truly grokking that, hey man, you get to do you, boo boo, and really feel that in a way that is no longer there.
Yeah, right. Without saying as you walk away, I'm so happy to be me and not you.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's right.
It's me, and this is me today. This might not be me tomorrow or 5 weeks.
That's right.
You know, so it's not even holding yourself locked in to, because then it helps you be open to, like you're saying, Lisa, open to the conversation of saying, well, tell me more about that. You know, like, oh, that's interesting. And so in the meantime, you may be shifting your beliefs. So allowing not only them to, and celebrating that, but also allowing yourself to change, because we hold ourselves locked in as like, oh, they're going to think I'm wishy-washy because I was, you know, just trying to talk about that. And my beliefs have evolved so much over the last 10 years, just in the last 10 years, regardless of my lifetime, that it's like, if you were to compare me over the years, you would look like different people. So it's like, you got
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we got a lawnmower going out there now, Lisa.
Yeah, we do. Sorry. Yes, we do.
I can't even hear it.
Yeah, I actually was having a hard time hearing you myself, Gina, and I'm in the house.
Oh, okay.
It must
All
be
right.
right out here.
Well, maybe we
Yeah.
should wrap this one up
It's in
then.
the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
I
over
guess,
here. That's why.
Well, this was so much fun. I'm glad you guys to come play today. So
I'm so glad that you reached out. Actually, I love this. This was awesome.
yeah,
It's
we'll have to do this
lovely to
again
see
when we
you.
feel called
Yes.
to. So, but we'll put, as we normally do on our channel, we'll put the links below. We'll put the link to Sheila and Lisa's channel, the Conscious Conversation Central, and you can take a look over there. And then I'll give you the links for the StarDragonBrood stuff, and you guys can put it in.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate
Yeah, I
that.
started reading. There's quite a lot. It's huge, but it's good. I've only gotten into 2 of them because for some reason, and I know this happens to me, I get very sleepy. So I couldn't listen to him because immediately I would just. So I thought I'll read it, and my eyes get tangled and I can't stay on the page.
Yeah. It's
So it's
interesting.
big.
Yeah, it's interesting on the blog site. So there are different episodes, and so don't feel like you have to listen to them in order. I mean,
Okay. Oh, thank you for that piece because I really did feel that way. And I kind of like to pick a title that jumps out. So thank you for that piece. That's
yeah,
helpful.
because you might have, you might miss a little bit of the conversation, but each one of them kind of stand on their own. So
Okay.
kind of like complete little envelopes. So each
Nice to know
one is
that.
like a little complete little envelope. So they have multiple messages in there, and some of them have poems, and
Sure.
some of them are conversations and things like that. But you can pick any of them out and listen to them individually, or you can listen to them in sequence. So it's totally up to you. But
Okay, awesome. So I'll
Yeah.
just say to the viewers that are watching this on Conscious Conversation Central, if you haven't already subscribed, please be sure to do so to Conscious Conversation Central. And as we said, there's going to be links both to the StarDragonBrood YouTube channel and also to the blog, the new blog now, where you can pick and choose apparently to go to a title that you feel drawn to in regards to what Tim has had just flowing through him, which I love that. I absolutely love that. And so make sure to subscribe over there at StarDragonBrood as well, and hit the notification bell on both channels so that you're notified when either live videos, live interactive sessions are happening or videos are uploaded. So, and by the same token, if you're subscribed over here to my channel, do go over and subscribe to theirs and vice versa. That would be lovely. We would love to have some of your viewers join us. And I think that's all I wanted to say. I'll make sure we've got, oh yeah, wait a minute. Are you still doing your virtual
I haven't been recently just because I was doing some other projects, but I am going to be doing some lives and some calls. I mean, if there's an interest, the email stardragonbrood@gmail.com if people are interested. I do Zoom calls. We'll do group discussions. Just let me know you're interested. And if you're interested in having a chat like this, or if you're interested in just doing a Zoom call, kind of a community discussion, we have that as well. And kind of to the last bit on the blog and the information, again, this information has been flowing through like February 22nd, and it's so fascinating because some of it comes just days prior to us seeing things out into the world. So it's amazing. There's stuff that will come through, and then we'll see it in headlines, like 2 days or 3 days later. So so it's just really interesting. It's called The Expanded World of Living, a Manifesting Manifesto. And so we've kind of called that whole body of work. That's the name Tim was given for that whole body of work. So it is like it's almost like a book, if you will. But
yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Different approaches. So, but yeah, so play with it, feel into the energy of it. and not here, but here, what attracts you, and don't rationalize why you picked 12 instead of the first one. So just go for it and dive in. But I hope you enjoy playing with it. There's absolutely no cost. We are just, it's not about that. We just want to put that energy out there. And if it helps somebody, spark their creativity, fantastic. So
I love that. That's exactly the way I feel about Conscious Conversation Central. So awesome stuff.
Well, thanks again, you ladies, for joining me. And hold on just a moment, and I'll stop the recording. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, much love.